going, YouTube? Out here four-wheeling up at Nemadji State Forest today. My family and I, we have a couple of geocaches hidden up here. There's a lot of geocaches. This video is going to be more about geocaching, a little less about four-wheeling. But we had a couple of geocaches we placed up here this summer. The first one was accepted. It's online. I'm on my way to go look at that, make sure it's healthy, make sure it's not completely wet or whatever else. And then this other one didn't get approved. I had bad coordinates. I had the wrong format, so they weren't accurate enough. The geocaching folks, they want it as accurate as possible. I was only accurate to 1,000 feet. That's probably not good enough. So on top of that, where we had it, we were only 338 feet from another geocache. That's one of these geocaches that's just out here on the road. So I'm on a forest road right here, just off the Matthew Lowry Trail. I'll kind of spin the camera on so you can see, but right along this forest road, there's probably 30 or 40 geocaches, and I'll cut in a little map over here somewhere. But we don't generally do those. They're called park and grabs, and there's so many of them every 600 feet or so. You're going to be just sit there stopping at all these geocaches constantly. It's not what we enjoy. We like getting out in the woods a little bit. So these geocaches, we wanted to put out in the woods as well. I'm on my way to go inspect, look at this one. I'll go ahead and film it. If you're going to try to find it, just skip the next minute or two, and that way you don't see exactly where it is. I'm hoping I find it myself, so I'll be back in a minute. This is a water crossing we come to quite a bit. I think this is almost as much water as I've ever seen it have here. Overall, it's not too deep, but I'm not exactly dressed for four-wheeling here today. I didn't expect this much water here. Honestly, I meant to bring the boots, but I forgot them. Truck needed DEF fluid on the way out, needed diesel, ATV needed gas. I almost forgot the lunch that my wife made for me, and so I got flustered and forgot my damn boots. So, we're gonna ford it. It looks like I can get across right through here and not get too wet. Even in this deep spot, like right in here, it's only, I can see the rocks. I don't think you can see them on camera, but it's only maybe 1.5 feet deep. It's deep enough to get my feet wet, but if I had the boots, it wouldn't be a problem. I'm gonna walk you guys back to this geocache. We'll see what it looks like, see if it's wet. They've gotten a lot of rain up here this summer, and fortunately, neither one of our geocaches so far have been wet at all. So maybe we're just getting lucky. Maybe we did a good job placing the geocache. I'll put a little map to what geocache and the geocache information and a link up. Where do they go? They go up there, maybe? I don't even know. And that way you can kind of get an idea of what's going on. It's a good time. We really enjoy it, and I'll explain more about geocaching here towards the end of the video. Probably when I'm back at the house and not sitting out on the side of a trail. So here we go. Walk on back. Here's the side of the trail, and it's back here in the woods a little ways. When we placed this geocache, there was an absolute of bees out here, and we had to kind of be careful where we were stepping. None of them harmed us. There were probably, I don't know, hundreds of them, no joke. And as long as we were careful where we stepped and whatnot, nobody seemed to bother us at all. Now the tough part is going to be to try to figure out where we put this cache. Because I don't remember. I don't know if y'all can hear them, but they're coming. There's more of them. I really enjoy the ATV community. Mostly experienced with the stuff and the people out here in Minnesota, but man, everybody is so friendly. See what I mean? So let's continue on back to this geocache. Now you can see that the weeds have been beat down a little bit. I'm gonna guess there's something lying down back here. If only I can remember where I put this darn thing. The other problem with doing this in the spring is nothing's grown. Oh yeah, you can definitely see a lot of mushrooms, a lot of beat down, lay down. Something's laying down there. This is why especially hunting season, like it is now, generally carry my Glock with me, just in case I surprise a bear or a bear tries to surprise me. It's really interesting. I remember this, I think. Man, none of this was here. Does not help that I am not properly dressed for this. Alright. Let's see. Ow! Oh, there it is. Somebody is literally thrown it in the woods. So we'll just go look at it. We'll try to put it back where we thought we had it. It feels okay. And sure, everything's in there. We're good to go. We'll put her back in the tree back there. And we'll climb our happy butts out of here. Oh. All right, so we checked on that geocache. No incident. Looks great. It was a little out of place from where we had it. We stuck it back where it was supposed to be. Not much of a difference. It was 2 feet away. Just kind of tossed to the side. Everything was dry, 100%. So now we're gonna go do some of our own geocaching. Find a couple of caches here and sign the logbook. I didn't bring any toys or anything to exchange. That's usually for the kids. More about that later. And we'll see what we can find. Okay, so the first thing we're gonna do is open the Geocache app on my phone. I've got a number of caches saved since cell reception is horrible in the forest. And it turns out none of them are gonna load. Goody. They're all showing up on the map though, so that's all right. I'm gonna zoom out, and it looks like there's a cache up near a shelter at a Y in the trail just to the northeast. I think that'll be a good one. Now if we click on the cache icon, we can pull up the information of the cache. This one is called Shelter on the Trail. About a mile, 1.3 miles up. Next, click on the start button, and then we'll get a as the crow flies route in orange on the map. So So a real quick fun story. My family and I usually follow a basic heading, which just gives you a direction, you know, kind of like this as the crow flies route. And for better or worse, we will traipse through hills and trees and brambles and everything between here and there to get to that cache. And we have absolutely the most fun doing this, even when sometimes it ends up that if we had just stayed on the path we had left, often a nice asphalt path or a concrete path through whatever park we're in, it ends up right back where we were in. And so a lot of these caches that look like they might be a little adventurous sometimes tend to be a quote-unquote park and grab. We make an adventure out of it by following this as the crow flies. Not going to do this today. We're on an ATV. We got about a mile and a half to go. So we're going to follow that ATV trail and get to our destination there, and then we'll do the last few hundred feet on foot. I'm going to set the screen up and leave it recording while I drive the route over to the geocache, and we'll pick it up from there. I'll speed it up a little bit so you don't have to watch the entire 14-minute journey. Okay, now that we've arrived near the cache, we're going to switch the application over to the heading mode. This is going to give us a good idea of which direction we specifically need to walk and how far we need to go. For my family, we all have cell phones, though our youngest only has an older phone that doesn't have any cell service. This mode for the application will still work as long as you've preloaded the caches into the phone via Wi-Fi or a cellular tether before you get here. And it's fun for everybody to be able to run around in this heading mode trying to find the cache. We've also just given our kids our own cell phones before they had theirs, or if we didn't preload these, and let them go and find them. All right, I'm within 50 feet here, folks. So now it says it's somewhere back that way, and one of the things you want to try to avoid is making a mess and making it obvious. So obviously if 300 people go traipsing across this tree, you're going to break all the branches off and you're going to see a pretty plain as day path. Doesn't mean it wasn't animals that did it though, so you never know what you're going to find out here caching. So I'm trying to find a way. Yeah, and see, this is kind of what you're going to find. You can kind of see how the bark is rubbed off. Anybody that hunts knows these little tricks too. I think all these ATVers think I'm a weirdo. There's some evidence of some beaver. The water's way down there. But, see here. Woodpecker evidence. Really suck if my first geocache on YouTube is a did not find a DNF. So let's see here. You can barely even see who's coming through here. Step up over this. I had to cut over and see how many feet I was, and I was drifting away. And recording all of this on my iPhone is kind of difficult, so. Aha! Here it is. Old tree stump. And sure enough, I even said it was probably an ammo can. Alright, I'm desperately gonna hope y'all can see this. So I'm just being careful to move as much of this away as I can. Geocache. And it's dry. Just so you get an idea, all kinds of toys and pencils and erasers and things like that inside these caches. I'll talk more about prizes and toys and things like that for the kids. And this one actually does have a pen. I'll use my own anyway. And then I'm gonna sign the logbook here. Last find was June 4th. And so here we are on October 6th of 18. And our geocache name is Smart As, short for Smart Ass. All right, so we've logged it. We're gonna put this back in the Ziploc, make sure we close it up best we can. Now there's a small tear in this Ziploc, so I'll just mention that in the comments, just in case this does get wet. And we'll go from there. Just another shout out to a fellow YouTuber, Cubbies. He's not been four-wheeling much this summer. I guess he's got something going on. And hey Cubby, looking forward to seeing you back on YouTube, man, and miss your videos. All right, Dee Dee, my lovely wife. I think people are tired of listening to me. And they've...
I know I am.
You shush. So do me a favor, from another perspective, just tell our wonderful viewers, all 8 of them, what is geocaching? What do we do? What's this with the toys inside the caches? What's the logbook?
Okay. Well, geocaching is something you can do outdoors that doesn't require a lot of skill. So if you just want something to do, like you're camping and you're kind of bored, you can download coordinates on your GPS or other device. There's a specific app you can get for geocaching, and you can follow the GPS, and it'll point an arrow, and you basically just follow the arrow wherever it's pointing, and you find a treasure. Sometimes it's like an ammo can filled with, you know, some used toys that are unwanted, like they're really small, like little army men or cars or, you know, bounce balls. So you find that, and there's usually a log book, and I'll explain that in a minute. But it's kind of fun because the kids like to find treasure. It's kind of like a treasure hunt. So not only are you out there, you know, sometimes you can climb really steep hills or you have to really look hard for things, but it's really neat to get the kids involved. But when you find it, they can trade. So they'll bring some unused toys on their own, like, you know, go through the room, pick out some unused things, or not unused, things that they just don't want anymore. And then they can trade. So you take something and then you trade it for something else and you'd have to log that. So in the cache, there's a log book. It's usually, I don't know, like this big, but sometimes it's just rolled up paper. It really depends on the person who made the cache. Then we log with your tag. You know, ours is smart as, and I know Eric's already talked about that. But so you do the date and what you took and what you left and your tag. And then you put it basically back in the same spot that you found it, and you want to make sure it's still hidden. You don't want to just chuck it in the woods because the GPS coordinates may not be correct. And yeah, that's basically it. There's also travel bugs, which is a coin about this big. And if you're new to geocaching, it's really kind of a fun thing to do. Travel bugs go throughout the whole world. Yay, world. Okay, so have fun finding travel bugs.
Do travel bugs have missions?
Travel bugs sometimes have missions. And the mission is unique to whatever travel bug you're finding. So there might be the person that planted it wants to see if it can get the travel bug to Florida. And maybe they want it to be in a specific place. Or that, you know, maybe they want all of the it wants to hit every cache in Florida, but it started in Minnesota. Or, you know, whatever. I mean, those are just examples, but that's some travel bugs will have a mission. You're not required to do a travel bug. If you open the cache and you see the travel bug, you don't have to be like, oh, guess I gotta do this. You can decide if you want to actually complete the mission or not, or don't just leave it. Just be like, you know, somebody else do it.
That's totally going on YouTube. And I'm gonna blur it out.
What else do I need to say about it?
First to find.
Okay, hold on.
Still recording. First to find. What is a first to find?
First to find is when the person that made the geocache has an incentive placed in the cache for the first person to find it. So it could be Dairy Queen coupons, or it could be $20, or, you know, keys to a new truck.
If you come back with a Chevy,
or
I'm gonna...
whatever it is. But that sometimes makes a brand new geocache exciting to find, because you might find something pretty exciting and you might not. But at least you found the geocache, so that's fun too.